Chapter 16, Part 6, Cytokines. So cytokines are involved in immune response, and they're kind of like the hormone system just for the immune cells. So these are soluble proteins. They have a regulatory function. They tell other cells how to behave, what they're supposed to do, and they are secreted by a bunch of different leukocytes, and each leukocyte has a collection of cytokines it can produce under different conditions. So there is a cytokine network. There's a whole bunch of these proteins. They're made at different times under different conditions by different cells. So it's this whole network and it's of signaling that help coordinate this very complex immune system. So cytokines are a whole collection of different kinds of proteins. Within that, there's other collections. So there's a whole family of proteins called interleukins, or that's often abbreviated IL, interleukin. These are signals between and among the leukocytes, the white blood cells. Interferons, I think we talked a bit about interferon in the previous chapter. These are antiviral proteins. Sometimes they may also be acting as cytokines, which means they're telling some other cell to start producing a protein or stop producing a protein. There are growth factors that stimulate stem cells and cause stem cells to start growing, so that's why we call them growth factors. They tell cells, we want you to start growing now. We need your cells, so start making some more cells for us. TNF, which is tumor necrosis factor. This is secreted by macrophages and T cells, and it causes tumor cells, cancer cells, to die. And it also regulates various immune responses, and it regulates some inflammatory response as well. And then there's chemokines. These are cytokines. These are little proteins, but these are chemotactic, meaning these are lures. They are secreted to make leukocytes move closer to the source of that, the chemokine secretion. So this is a come here, we need your help signal, the chemokines. But again, each of these there's not just one version of them. There's multiple different versions of them, or related proteins that are doing very similar things, but maybe signaling different white blood cells or other cells to do different things as well. So this table shows a few of the cytokines, and then where they come from, which cells make them, which cells are they talking to. These are the cells that will have a receptor for them, and then this is what happens to those cells. So we were just talking about tumor necrosis factor. They're made by macrophages and T cells. They target body tissues, and they cause them to do apoptosis, or they can also trigger inflammation. So that's what is happening. This is just a few of them. Each of them, though, has a whole complex. Again, there's a big web of who's talking, who's listening, and what do they do when they hear that signal. In the next section, we're going to talk about cell-mediated immune response. So that's going to be T cells.